All right, well, that was weird because I ended up having to restart my whole computer. It's stuck. Anyway, all right, so here was where we were at. So hopefully by now we have seen that your least common denominator is x plus 5 times x, excuse me, minus 3. And then I'm going to subtract another fraction. So I usually write it this way so that I know exactly what I am at multiplying or dividing, least common denominator is. So I tend to write it this way just to make sure that I'm not making any mistakes as far as subtraction goes, or addition, doesn't matter. Okay, so x plus 5, I have that already on this side. So I need to multiply numerator and denominator, or excuse me, the numerator by the x minus 3. So I'm going to multiply, because that's what I'm missing on this. I'm sorry, by x minus 3 over x minus 3. So x times x minus 3. I know I jumped a little bit because I have the x minus 3 in the denominator. Again, do not cancel these x minus 3's out. We need them there. Okay, and then I'm going to multiply the 2 by what's missing, which is the x plus 5. And now I come to simplify. So x squared minus 3x, okay, minus 2x minus 10. Watch your sign here because it's a negative 2 times the 5, which is negative 10, over x plus 5, x minus 3. Okay, I'm going to go over here. Running out of room. Okay. My numerator becomes x squared minus 5x minus 10 over x plus 5, x minus 3. Okay, that is my answer. Okay. Now you can look to see, is anything going to cancel? It probably won't, but it's not a bad thing to look and see if it's going to cancel. But that is my final answer. Okay. My goal is to do lots of examples with you. Okay. So on this one, so when I look at these denominators, man, they look so close. I see an x minus 2 and a 2 minus x. Well, here's the tricky. If I factor out of here a negative 1, that fraction, that what's left in there now is a negative 2 plus x, which is really negative 1 times x minus 2. Okay, so that is actually going to be my least common denominator, is negative 1 times the quantity x minus 2. So on that first fraction, I just have to multiply it by 6 times a negative 1. And then my denominator is negative 1 times x minus 2, okay, plus, and then I'm going to go over here, x plus 3, over negative 1 times x minus 2. Could we write the whole thing as 2 minus x? Yes, we could, because it's the same thing. So my numerator, that is confusing, that looks like it's multiplication, is a negative 6 plus x plus 3. So my final answer is x minus 3 over 2 minus x. That's my final answer. Okay, on example 5. So I have to factor. So I see an x times x minus 5. Over here, it's 5 times x minus 5. So you see the variable and the number that's hanging out on the outside. That's what I have to multiply the other one by. So my 5 gets multiplied by, oh, I guess I should have written down what my least common denominator is. I'm sorry. My least common denominator is 5x times x minus 5 minus 5x times x minus 5. So over here, I have to multiply 5 times what's missing. What's missing in my denominator here is a 5 minus, sorry about that. So what's missing is an x, so x squared, because it's x times x. Okay, so my numerator becomes x squared minus 25, excuse me, negative x plus 25 is what I should have written, over 5x squared minus 5x. Okay, So now my numerator, because we have some cleaning up to do here. My numerator, I see that is a difference of 2 squares, 25 minus x squared. I'm going to go back in my denominator and write 5x times x minus 5. Why did I do that? Because I know that this numerator is going to become x minus 5 times x plus 5. Okay. So now I see that this x minus 5 crosses out with that x minus 5. So my final answer is x plus 5 over 5x. There's a lot to keep in mind, okay? I get that. This one is challenging. There's a lot to keep in mind between I'm subtracting, I find my least common denominator. The only way you're going to get better at doing these is by doing a lot of them so that you see what can factor. So I notice this is the difference of 2 squares because I see a square and I know it's going to be a negative x squared and I see that that is squared as well. All right. And I looked ahead and saw, oh, wait, this is an x minus 5. All right. And I can cancel that because I know the difference of 2 squares is going to be x minus 5 times x plus 5. Okay. All right. Couple last things. My last thing here, my last slide, is to just avoid common errors. And I see this a lot. Okay. I see a lot that we just want to add, even though it's multiplication. Okay. So remember, in order to find common denominators, least common denominators, you have to find what is common between both of them. Okay. So in this one, they multiply the numerator and the denominator by x because they see that they don't have anything in common. We have to multiply them together. So we get 1x as our denominator. Okay. On this one, we see that I can cancel these x's. Okay. I can't cancel unless it's multiplication. It has to be multiplication. Okay. The next video is optional. I'm going to go through a couple of examples from each section from the worksheet that I gave you with the extra problems that you have to do. Okay. So if you choose to watch that video with some of them, that's great. If not, I will see you in class on Thursday.